In this video, we'll be going over part 2 of Unit 2 in AP Psychology. Let's get started with memories. Explicit memories are memories that you can always remember and talk about. Episodic memory is the memory of personal events. Semantic memory is memory of general knowledge, such as the capital of USA. Implicit memory is memory we aren't aware of, such as habits. Procedural memory is memory of how to do things, such as driving. Prospective memory is remembering to do something in the future, like taking medicine. Long-term potentiation is when our brain becomes stronger to store long-term memories. Working memory or short-term memory used to hold information for a short time, like memorizing a phone number. Visual spatial sketchpad is when it helps us visualize and remember images and locations. Multi-store model is theory that memory is made up of three parts: sensory, short-term, and long-term. Central executive is the boss part of working memory that controls attention. Phonological loop is when it deals with spoken and written info, such as repeating a phone number. Iconic memory is short memory of visual info. Echoic memory is short memory of sounds. Shallow processing is remembering information based on basic features like meow and how that is a cat. Deep processing is remembering information based on complex features like visualizing how a cat is shaped. Automatic processing is remembering something without trying, such as saying your name. Effortful processing is actively trying to remember something, like during a test. Encoding, storing, retrieval means inserting information, keeping information, and referring back to the information. Structural processing is remembering information based on how it looks. Phonemic processing is remembering information based on how it sounds. Semantic processing is remembering information based on its meaning. Method of Loki is remembering things by imagining them in locations, such as when you think of toilet paper, you think of bathroom. Chunking is grouping information into chunks to make it easier to remember, such as even and odd. Hierarchies is organizing information in levels form, such as general to specific. Spacing effect is learning is better if you spread out study sessions over time, such as distributed practice. Mass practice is studying all at once, such as cramming. Serial position effect is the tendency to remember the first and last items in a list. Primacy effect is remembering the first items in a list better. Recency effect is remembering the last items in a list better. Sensory memory is a super quick storage of memories. Short-term memories are memory that holds a small amount of information for a short time. Long-term memory is memory that has unlimited capacity and stores a lot of information. Working memory is active processing of information in short-term memory. Memory consolidation is the process of strengthening memories, making them last longer. Maintenance rehearsal is repeating information to keep it in short-term memory. Elaborative rehearsal is linking new information to existing knowledge to store it in long-term memory. Autobiographical memory is the memory of personal experiences and events. It is similar to episodic. Flashbulb memory is the vivid, detailed memory of an emotionally significant event. Retrograde amnesia is the unable to remember past memories before an accident. Anterograde amnesia is unable to form new memories after an accident. Infantile amnesia is unable to remember childhood events, such as ages 3 to 4. Retrieval cues are hints that help you remember things. Context-dependent memory is when you remember things better in the same place you learned it. Mood congruent memory is when you remember things that match your current mood, such as when you're happy, you recall positive memories. State-dependent memory is when you remember better if you're in the same mental or physical state as when you learned it. Testing effect is when you remember better if you test yourself while learning. Interleaving is missing different skills when learning. Encoding specificity principle is when memory works best if your situation is the same when you learned it. The forgetting curve is how information is lost over time if not reviewed. Encoding failure is when information never gets stored in memory in the first place. Proactive interference is when old information interferes while learning new information. Retroactive interference is when new info makes it hard to remember old information. Tip of the tongue phenomenon is knowing something but not being able to recall it. Repression is unconsciously blocking out painful memories. Misinformation effect is memory that is altered due to misleading information. Source amnesia is forgetting where or how you learned something. Constructive memory is memories that are influenced by what we already know. Memory consolidation is the process of storing long-term memories. Imagination inflation is believing imagined events are real after repeatedly imagining them. And that is the end of Unit 2, Part 2.